Hello everyone, how are you all today? This is Ashar Khan from Shiv Jyoti Educational Group Kota, and today we'll be covering the rest of the topics from our second chapter of economics, which is people as resource. I hope you have already seen the part 1 video and have gone through the question answers as well. Now, the topics that we discovered in the earlier chapter were the important terms, the economic activities done by men and women, and sectors in the economy. These are the topics that we have covered in our earlier video already. Now in this video we are covering quality of population, we'll discuss education and health, and we'll discuss unemployment. Okay, so please open your books on page number 20 so that we may begin. First, we're talking about quality of population. What is quality of population? See, quality of population means जो लोग एक देश में रह रहे हैं उनकी quality. How so? The quality of population depends on the literacy rate, health of a person by its life expectancy, and skill formation acquired by the people of the country. Means the population which is living in a country, their quality depends on the literacy rate, how much they are educated, health of a person, how much healthy they are, and the skills acquired, how skillful they are. Okay, the quality of the population decides the growth rate of the country. तो जिस देश की जो क्वालिटी है अगर वो अच्छी होगी तो वहाँ की ग्रोथ रेट भी अच्छी होगी. सिंपल सी बात है, if a country has good literacy rate, the health of a population is also better, then their growth rate will be better. Correct? Now we are discussing the two factors, okay, which affect the quality of population. They are education and health. इन दोनों के बारे में हम So students, in our earlier video we learned about the story of Sakal and Vilas. What happened in that story? Sakal got good education and health in the beginning, and so he got good salary, he got a good job at a company. And what happened to Vilas? He didn't get the same privilege as Sakal. So what happened to him? He was living as a poor fisherman, right? So Sakal's education in the initial years, means the starting year of his life, bore him the fruits in the later year in terms of good education and salary. Okay, that was Sakal. And we saw that education was an important input for the growth of Sakal. Sakal got good education in the beginning. That is why he was able to work as a software engineer at a company. And it is not only for Sakal, okay? Education contributes towards the growth of a society also. Means the more educated the people who are living in the society are, the more growth it will have. Now, let us discuss education. What is education? It is the process of learning for acquisition of knowledge. It is an important input for growth of a person. You come to school, correct? When you come to school, teachers teach you. You gain education, you gain knowledge out of that. Development of a country is basically dependent on literacy rate. When a person is educated, then a family can be educated, and that is how literacy rate of the society can increase. First, the literacy rate, the development of a country, it depends. Our country's development depends on the literacy rate, means how many number of people are educated in. An educated person can earn more income as compared to an uneducated person because of their skill, and due to this our national income increases. Means if a person is educated, if the society is consisting of more educated people, then they will earn more, and then our national income will also increase. Now here are some facts and figures. You can underline these in your books, okay? The literacy rates have increased from 18% in 1951, means the initial years of independence of India. Our literacy rate was only 18%, but now it is 74% according to the census of 2010 to 11. In 2011, literacy rates varied from 94% in Kerala to 62% in Bihar. Now, even in India, there are disparities, means there are differences between the literacy rate in certain states. We see that Kerala has 94% of literacy rate, while Bihar is only on 62%. Now, there is a wide gender disparity as well, state disparity as well as gender. How so? There is a wide gender disparity in the literacy rate in India. In 2011, the literacy rate was 82.14% for men and 65.46% for women. So, you see that men are more educated than women. Now, the expenditure on education means how much we are spending on our income, education. The expenditure on education as a percentage of GDP rose from 0.64% in 1951 to 52 to 3.0% in 2015 to 16. Means how much that we are spending on our education. Okay, In 1951 to 52, it was only 0.64% of our entire GDP, means the entire nation's income, only 0.64% was given to education, which was 3.0% till 2015 to 16, okay? But recently, if you are keeping up with the news, you will know that in the new education reform, it has been increased to 4.6% of the entire GDP. And with the target of 6% in the future. So right now our government is giving 4.6% of the entire GDP to education, and in future their target is to achieve it to 6%. Also some schemes were launched, right? There was Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan was started by the government to ensure primary education to children of 6 to 14 years of age in 2010. In 2010 our government launched a scheme which was called Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, to ensure primary education to children of 6 to 14 years of age. Now, other was midday meal scheme has been implemented to encourage attendance and retention of children and improve their nutritional status. Now, in certain government school, midday meal is given so that students can attend school. Vocational streams have been developed to equip large number of high school students with occupations related to knowledge and skill. Vocational streams means they are taught certain skills in their school life which can be helpful to them later. Over the past 50 years, there has been a significant growth in the number of universities and institutions of higher learning. In the past few years, number of schools and colleges and universities in India have also increased. As you can see in this table, which is on your page number 22 in your book, number of institutions of higher education, enrollment and faculty throughout the year, okay? So we are seeing in 1950 to 51, there were only 750 colleges in India, 30 universities, in which only 2,63,000 students were enrolled and the teachers were 24,000. But if we come into our recent years, which is 2015 to 16, we'll see that the number of colleges in India are right now 41,000 to 435. Then number of universities 753. Students enrolled in these colleges were 2,84,84,741, and the teachers who are teaching in these universities and college, they are 14,38,000. So as you can see, the education system of our country has increased dramatically, okay? And this was the UGC annual report of 2015 to 16. Moving on, so there has been a lot of improvement in our country's education plan. All these policies and schemes add to the literate population of India. So all these schemes and policies, what good are they? They are increasing our education system. The number of people who are enrolled in our education, in our universities, they are increasing. Now we come to our next factor of development, which is health. What is health? Underline this: the health of a person helps him to realize his potential and the ability to fight illness. A person can't maximize his output to the overall growth of the organization. Okay, what is health? It means our well-being. Okay, हमारा स्वास्थ्य. So a person cannot maximize his output to the overall growth of the organization unless he or she is totally healthy. Henceforth, improvement in the health status of the population has been the priority of the country. That is why our country also prioritizes the health of its people. An unhealthy person is burden for a country in terms of economics. Okay, if we talk about economics, then we'll know that an unhealthy person is a burden for the country. Okay. Now, our national policies also aims at improving the accessibility of healthcare, family health, welfare and nutritional services with special focus on the underprivileged section of the population. हमारी जो national policies हैं, अलग अलग policies start हुई हैं जिससे कि healthcare accessibility means every person can access the healthcare system. Family welfare की जो family है इंडिया में रहने वाली, how are they doing? And nutritional services are also provided with special focus on the underprivileged section. Those who cannot earn much or cannot purchase grain, they are also given focus. These measures have increased the life expectancy to 68.3 years in 2013. Means all these years. What is life expectancy? It means how much a person is supposed to live. So in India, the average life expectancy is 68.3 years. And also infant mortality rate, we also learned in our earlier video what is infant mortality rate. It means the number of babies who die before completing the age of before completing the age of 1 year, okay, per 1000 live birth. So infant mortality rate has come down from 147 in 1951 to 37 in 2015. 1951 में हमारे पास 147 means on an average of out of 1000, 147 babies used to die. but now it is only 37. But still, there are many places in India which do not have these basic facilities. There are still a lot of places in India which do not have proper hospitals and healthcare. There are only 381 medical colleges in the country and only 301 dental colleges. Just 4 states like Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu have the maximum number of colleges. Okay, so still our health system needs a lot of improvement. Now, this is a table which you can find on the page number of your book, page number 24. This is health infrastructure over the years. It tells us about the infrastructure, means the healthcare facilities in 2013 there were only 1,81,139, but till 2015 there were 1,84,359 and so on. Okay. Now, unemployment. What is unemployment? Let us discuss that. Unemployment is said to exist when people who are willing to work at the going wages cannot find jobs. Unemployment means berozgari. It means the person who wants to do a job, he wants to earn money, but he cannot find any job. It means that the person wants to work, but there are no jobs available. Unemployment is a liability to the nation. It leads to the wastage of manpower resources. Now, imagine if a person is given a lot of education in the beginning, like Sakal. Okay, we learned in the story of Sakal that the person got, that the child Sakal got a lot of education and health. But if he grew up and he didn't find any job, what would happen? All the resources which were spent on him were going to waste. Why? Because he now cannot use them. He is not using them because he is unemployed. That is why unemployment is a liability to the nation, which leads to the wastage of manpower resource. The workforce population includes people from 15 years to 59 years of age. Means the workforce population, the population who is supposed to work, it means age 15 years to 59 years. Now, children below 15 and adults who are above the age of 59 will not be counted in the workforce population. Now, there are types of unemployment as well. Let us see. There are 2 types of unemployment which are mainly found in the rural areas. They are seasonal unemployment and disguised unemployment. Then there is another type of unemployment which is found in urban areas mainly. It is educated employment. Okay, let us discuss these 3. Seasonal unemployment happens when people are not able to find jobs during some months of the year. People dependent upon agriculture generally face this problem. Certain months do not provide much work to the people dependent on agriculture. If a farmer is working on his farm, I am giving you an example. A farmer is working on his farm. What will happen after he has reaped his crop? जब उसने अपनी फसल काट ली, there will be some time where he will be unemployed, when he will have to wait for another season so that he can replant his crops. Right now, that particular season is called the seasonal unemployment for him. Why? Because he does not have any work in that time period. Correct? So that is seasonal unemployment. जब साल के कुछ महीनों में आपके पास काम नहीं होता करने को. Then our next one is disguised unemployment. Disguised unemployment happens when people appear to be employed but they are actually not. लोग जो हैं वो लगते हैं कि they are working something, they are employed but they are not. How so? Example, in agriculture sector, supposedly एक agriculture field है which requires the service of 5 people and there are 8 people working on it. एक field है, एक खेत है जिसमें 5 लोगों की ज़रूरत है work करने के लिए, but there are 8 people working on it. Okay, then these 3 extra people come under the category of disguised unemployment. तो जो extra 3 लोग उस फील्ड में जो वर्क कर रहे हैं, they will come under the category of disguised unemployment. Why so? Because production will not decrease if those 3 are removed. अगर मैं उन तीनों को निकाल भी दूं, then also the field will produce the same amount of produce, right? ऐसा तो है नहीं कि अगर वो 3 लोग एक्स्ट्रा वर्क करें, then the field will also generate more crop. No. Then educated unemployment. This type of unemployment is mainly found in the urban areas. Okay, what is this? In urban areas, educated employment is seen. This problem occurs when an educated person is willing to work, but he or she is unable to find work. Now the person is educated and he wants to work, he is willing to work, but cannot find any work. Number of graduates and postgraduates which pass out from college increase every year, but the vacancies remain the same. Now college pass outs happen every year, but vacancies, the jobs remain the same, which leads to a large educated population being unemployed as they can't find work. इससे क्या होता है? एक large population which is educated cannot find work because they are unemployed. Why? Because there are no jobs. Okay. Now, increase in unemployment is an indicator of a depressed economy. It also wastes the resource which could have been gainfully employed. There is a feeling of hopelessness and despair among the youth. People do not have enough money to support their families. So what happens when a large section of society gets unemployed? A feeling of hopelessness and despair. People begin to go into depression, right? They begin to get depressed. Why? So because they are not contributing to the society. People also do not have enough money to support their families. Okay, so that also contributes to their mental health. Okay student, that was it for this chapter. Thank you so much. I hope you all learned well. Any doubts that you have regarding this chapter, we'll discuss them more in our doubt class. Okay.